Erasmus, all high school, we used to harmonize. Me and Victor and Nappy and two neighborhood guys. We were singing oldies, but they were newies then. And today when I play my old 45,
I'm Marie, the host of Vinyl City Broadcasting, your transit express to rock and roll trivia. I'm sitting in the green room at the beautiful Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts in Cerritos, California. I'm dressed a little more formal for today's show, as we will be presenting an award to one of our guests, Mr. Kenny Vance. Kenny Vance was born in Brooklyn, New York, and went to Erasmus High School, which he sings about in his signature song, Looking for an Echo. He is an American singer, songwriter, and music producer who was an original founding member of Jay and the Americans. His career spans from the 1950s to today, with projects ranging from starting doo-wop groups to music supervising to creating solo albums. He was the music supervisor for the movies Eddie and the Cruisers, Animal House, and American Hot Wax. He wrote the theme for the score, produced the soundtrack album, and appeared in the movie as Professor LaPlano to lead his fictional group, the Planetones, in a performance of Rock and Roll is Here to Stay. Kenny tells us in the interview how he picked the name for the Planetones. Did you know? We didn't either. He contributed music for many other films and TV shows, and after being a guest singer on Saturday Night Live in 1977, he then became the musical director of the show from 1980 through 1981. On an episode of Saturday Night Live, he booked Aretha Franklin, Prince, as well as James Brown, who on his only appearance on the show performed far longer than his allotted time, forcing the producers to go to a commercial while he was still singing. Do you remember watching that episode? In 2002, Kenny Vance was inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame. In 2007, he was inducted into the Long Island Music Hall of Fame. And of course, will be inducted into the Vinyl City Broadcasting Hall of Fame today, January 26, 2019, which will happen shortly. I see Rico unwrapping the award as I speak. It looks beautiful. The Planetones currently consist of Kenny Vance, Johnny Gale, Ladd Vance, Jimmy Bentz, Chip DeGard, and Tony Galino. Their material is influenced by the music of the 50s and 60s, but they consistently bring a unique and musically sophisticated point of view, redefining oldies with vocal authority and freshness. In this sense, they are classicist, opening the eyes of a new generation to a rich historical music style. I'm going to take a break. Dan, our outside contributor and interviewer, will now interview Kenny. Are you guys ready? Come on over.
Hi, Dan with Vinyl City Broadcasting. I'm sitting down with Mr. Kenny Vance.
Yes, sir.
We got to meet some years ago at an award show, but I'd like to share a thought with you, Mr. Vance.
Yes, sir.
It was sometime, I guess, in the 1980s, 1990s. It was a song on the radio called The Performer.
Oh, boy.
It was the first time I ever heard you, and I absolutely, positively loved that song. And whoever was playing the piano, I thought was great.
Well, the piano player, we recorded it, first of all, to give you some history on that song. I had worked at Fania Records, and Fania Records had the Fania All-Stars in the 70s with Ray Barretto and Mongo Santa Maria.
El Watusi,
El Watusi,
Watermelon Man.
Watermelon Man, and it was the big salsa craze in New
Okay.
York. And I found out about a guy named Arsenio Rodriguez, and I basically took this monduno. It's a chord progression.
Okay.
And I wrote with a friend of mine the English lyrics to it, and I recorded it with the Fania All-Stars, and then I re-recorded it, and Jerry Gonzalez from the Ford Apache Band was the trumpet player. There's a YouTube video of it.
Oh, I've seen it many times.
And the keyboard player was a guy by the name of Kenny Kirkland.
Okay.
Very famous guy.
Awesome
and
stuff.
We came in the morning. I had the acoustic guitar, basically, and these guys just did a head session, and boom, that's what came out. We really didn't, plan it too much, but thanks for asking about that song.
It captured my attention, and I didn't know who you guys were. Because they wouldn't say, well, this is Kenny Vance and the Planets. I didn't know that.
Right.
And then sometime later I found out it was you. I got the CD. And
Yeah, it was before the Planetones.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's my next question. How did you guys come up with the name The Planetones?
Oh God, the Planetones, I was working in Hollywood on a movie in 1976 called American Hot Wax.
Okay.
I was hired, they had heard, meaning they, the producers, had heard the original version of Looking for an Echo, which came out, produced by Joel Dorn on Atlantic Records. It came out in 1975, 74, and they heard it in California, and they thought, hey, maybe this guy might be good to be the music director of this film that they were getting ready to do, the Alan Freed story.
I saw it.
And American Hot Wax was called by Rolling Stone the most emotionally accurate movie about that time. Not maybe statistically, but emotionally.
And that's your music that you concentrated from that era.
For me, it was thrilling because I had gone to the Alan Freed show when I was a kid, 13 and 14 years old in Brooklyn. And now to be able to recreate that show.
That was history.
It was beautiful. And we had Chuck Berry, we had Screamin' Jay Hawkins, we had Jerry Lee Lewis, and then I made up a few groups. So I was basically the music director. I was in the truck, because in those days, you'd have 24 tracks and you'd be in the truck. Now, of course, they have digital. And they said, oh, we need somebody to be one of the groups. So I thought, well, I used to be in a group. I could do it, maybe. And I called up my friends, the Brooklyn Dreams, who were on Casablanca at the time. Bruce Sedano, Eddie Hokinson, and Joe Esposito. And I was staying at a guy's house, and he had a photo essay book. They said, we need a name for the group.
Okay.
So I was looking through the photo essay book, and it says, the name of the photo essay book is Real Life in Louisville in the 20s. And there were just pictures of Louisville, Kentucky in the 20s. And there happened to be a picture of a marquee.
Okay.
And it says, for 5 cents, see Professor LaPlano.
Okay.
Saw a woman in two.
How wonderful.
And I thought, maybe I could be Professor LaPlano and the Plano
Tones.
And that's basically
Thank you.
where
I love this behind the scenes history because I'm always asking people, how'd you come up with the name? It's like Conway Twitty. His real name was Harold Jenkins.
Okay.
But he selected Conway, Arkansas, and Twitty, Texas.
Ah.
Conway, Twitty, go, no, that's it.
Well, he was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So I know in your music you're always looking for an echo.
right.
Where were your favorite places for an echo? Because all these artists had their favorite places.
Well, that's easy.
Was it a bathroom?
No, at Erasmus Hall High School
Okay.
on Flatbush Avenue and Church Avenue in Brooklyn, there was an archway. It's still there to this day, right on Flatbush Avenue. And after school, guys who were interested in doo-wop,
Okay.
which weren't that, it wasn't like the craze. There were people, most guys were into basketball, sports, and there was a lot of early gangs in those days. But there were some guys that were just interested in singing, and we discovered that if you got inside of an archway, that you would have this incredible echo. Of course, you had it in the subway, but this is the archway that I remember the most, where guys would get together and 2 or 3 guys would sound like a choir.
It was a natural, organic reverb.
100%.
Yeah.
I was just telling a friend of mine, Liz, about, I was in the chorus, and there were about 100 people in the chorus. And I had never really been exposed to classical music, and they were teaching us like Bach chorales. And so there was sopranos singing, and one of the guys, he was a bass singer. His name was Harold Birch. And one day after we had been in the choir, Mr. Stark was the choir director, Harold comes in and he says, I made a record with my friends. And they had a little phonograph and they put this record on, and it was The Letter by the Lark Tones.
Okay.
You guys know that?
I was going to say The Letter by the Box Tops, but that's not the case.
The Letter by the Lark Tones. It was probably 1957, and I almost fainted. I thought, and that was the moment for me, and I saw, like, it became, like, records were always something that I had, but were from another universe. But now when I saw Harold, this guy in the choir, that he made this record, I thought, maybe that's something I could do, because it made it real.
So it inspired you.
It did.
So my next question to you, your early influences, who impressed you to where you said, I want to be in that kind of business, or I want to be like that person, or I want to play like that person? Who are your influences?
I never really thought of it that way, but I fell in love with the early rock and roll, and my main person, of course, I loved the Flamingos and the Moonglows and the Dells. Oh my God, the Dells. But James Shepard and the Heartbeats,
Okay.
the lead singer of the Heartbeats, there was just something about his pathos, his sincerity that always just touched me so deeply. And I basically started to, sing along with those records. And of course, Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. And then, years later, when I heard I Wonder Why by Dion, and Louis Lyman, I'm So Happy, that was a record I just played 100 times. And the flip side, Lydia. But when Dion and the Belmonts did I Wonder Why.
To me, that's the spirit of rock and roll.
The spirit of it.
The happiness, the rhythm, everything about that song. You can't just sit there and listen to it. It's like you got to sing along with it or get up and dance.
Even to this day, when they play it on Sirius Satellite, it comes on. Carlo, oh my God, those guys were special. Magic group.
What I've appreciated about you, Kenny, and the Planetones is you're redoing the songs that I grew up with. And I'm not saying this to be nice to you.
Okay.
I absolutely enjoy hearing you. I absolutely do. You're somebody I do want to listen to. I'll be listening to you tonight, but it's just, you're bringing back that rock and roll that I grew up to, that I love.
Well, I feel the same way, and I do these records with Johnny Gale, and we just love making them. And I think that we're basically keeping these songs alive.
Yes, you are.
We're keeping these songs alive, and they're such great songs.
But also, as a thought for you, not everybody can keep them alive, but you can. You know what I mean? It's like anybody can sing a song, but not everybody's an artist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anybody can take a picture, but not everybody's a photographer.
Thank
But
you.
You're keeping it alive to where I want to hear you, as opposed to, I've heard that song before, I don't care to listen to it.
Okay.
We won't say the names.
Thank you.
But
Okay.
no, but I thank you.
I appreciate it.
So-
Thank you.
So what's happening with Kenny Vance and the Planetones this year? What's happening with you guys?
Well, I had like a charmed life up until a certain time.
Well, yeah.
And then I lost my house in the hurricane.
Okay.
It was just
I remember hearing about that.
I had been there for 40 years and the ocean took the house away. And then I wound up with, some medical problems that took me out for 5 years. So about 2 years ago, the first show that I ever did, I was here. My son, Lad, who's now in the Planetones, he said, "Oh, Rob Albanese is doing a show in Cerritos, California." And I said, "Who's on it?" He says, "Oh, the teenagers with Timothy Wilson, the great singer, great lead singer at the time."
Were the Fleetwoods there too?
The Fleetwoods were here, and the Dubs were here, and these are all old friends of mine. I said, "All right, I'll go down." And Rob said, "Hey, do you want to do a song?" And I said, "No, I don't know, I was afraid." And I basically got the acoustic guitar, and I did one song. I did "My Vow to You."
I was here. I watched you sing.
Yeah, and believe me, I was traumatized, but I thought slowly I'm starting to get better. So this
All right.
year, 2019, if you could believe it, is the first year that we have about 10 jobs, mostly back east, and it's always thrilling to come out here,
Well, this is paradise.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
This is where the weather is warm. There's no snow here.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
And also, I won't forget when Rob Albanese introduced you that evening, he also had some very kind thoughts about your business interaction
Right.
with him. And I go, that is very, very touching, because he was in a bind. He says, "I'll work with you," and you guys put the show together, something like that.
Well, it was like it was his first show. I didn't even know him, but he had booked Little Anthony and the Imperials, and I think the Skyliners with Jimmy Beaumont. These guys were just phenomenal, and he booked us, and we were unknown. I think it was around, like when we first started, it was 1992, and it was a bomb. Nobody showed up at the show. So I said, if you don't want to pay me, it's okay. So he said, "No, we have a contract, I'm going to pay you," but he remembered that. I forgot about it, but he mentioned it that night.
Well, that's the kind human interaction that bonds people as friends.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people trying to rip you off, but Zosa said, "No, I'm going to look out for you. There's a Portuguese proverb, "Uma mão lava a outra." One hand washes the other.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So you guys bonded. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But before you go, I got something for you. Vinyl City Broadcasting.
Oh, great.
We don't like you. We appreciate and love you.
Thank you.
So an award we'd like to give you, Vinyl City Hall of Fame.
That's beautiful.
So
Thank
there you go, Mr. Vance.
Oh, God, yeah.
We show that to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful.
No,
really appreciate it.
no, we thank you.
Okay.
So thank you for keeping our music alive.
It's a pleasure. I love it. You could tell that I'm as big a fan of it as you are, because I grew up. This is the music that touched me as a kid, and thank God, if you find the job that you love,
You're not working.
you're not working.
I know.
So that's how I feel.
Back to Vinyl City Broadcasting with Marie to close off the show. Thank you, Mr. Vance.
Thank you.
This was too much fun.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Kenny took us back to a time period when doo-wop and a cappella was being sung on many street corners in New York, in subway stations, in school bathrooms, lobbies, hallways, or crowded doorways. Even under the archway on Flatbush Avenue and Church Avenue in Brooklyn, where 2 or 3 guys would gather and sound like a choir. How about how we picked the name the Planetones? It was magical. Kenny, the three of us really enjoyed how the performer came together. Rico, why don't we show the video of the performer?
Ask me politely, I'll be happy, I'm sure to do tricks for you. I've been a performer since I prefer not to recall. Really so fine at whatever I do, whatever you want, I'm good at that too. What would I do if I ever fell in love with you? A screaming confusion of what I suppose I'm supposed to be. My expectations are just choking away my soul. It's hard enough being alone when you care, being alone when there's somebody there. What would I do if I ever fell in love with you? Your love is hopeless, you're guaranteed just a little pain. When it's over, nobody left around to blame.
the black and white video, the talented musicians, the dancers. So well put together. You really captured the city's environment at that time, Kenny. You can watch the video of the performer by just going to YouTube and typing in Kenny Vance, the performer. What's happening in 2019 for Kenny Vance? Looks like it's going to be a very busy year for Kenny and the Planetones. Look for Kenny Vance and the Planetones this April at the LAR Doo-Wop and Rock and Roll Weekend. This will be held at the Half Hollow Hills East High School in Dix Hills, New York. Saturday, April 6, 2019 at 5 p.m. and Sunday, April 7th at 3 p.m. Kenny will be highlighting both shows with over 30 other doo-wop performers and stars of our great music. Catch one of his shows, even if you have to do the retirement stroll to get there. Check out the Planetones website at www.theplanetones.com. While you're on their website, make sure you check out all their links, especially a testimonial to Kenny's dear friend Eugene Pitt, who passed away in June of 2018. You definitely need to read Kenny's thoughts. We'll post all the Planetones information on our last slide. Another big shout out to LAR Enterprises for putting together another terrific show. And Rob, we're glad you booked Kenny for your first show and continue to do so. We hope all of our subscribers and friends out there in VCB land enjoyed this interview as much as we did. Bookmark our page. Before we let you go, Kenny, we want to thank you for taking the time to do the interview with us at Vinyl City Broadcasting. It took a few years, but it happened. And we're all happy and wish you continued good health for years to come. And to present the Vinyl City Broadcasting Hall of Fame Award to you was a special occasion, not only for you, but also for us. Like the text said on the plaque, in recognition of your lifelong contribution, artistry, and preservation of rock and roll and doo-wop music. You really deserve it, Mr. Vance. Our vow to you, Mr. Vance, is we'll come out to see you again on your next trip to the West Coast. But for now, Rico and I are going to have to stroll on out of here.
We were looking for an echo, an answer to our sound, a place to be in harmony, a place we almost looking for an echo, an answer to our sound, a place to be in harmony, a place we almost looking for an echo, an answer to our sound, a place to be in harmony, a place we almost